Hi, so we'll take the discussion of Pancha Mahabhuta further, and the element that we are discussing today is the element of air or the Vayu Tattva. We all know the importance of it and how important it is for us. We also know that this is one of the elements we are born with, the perfection of which we are born with, right? Um, Nobody teaches a baby to how to breathe. He or she breathes perfectly. The problem comes as we grow up, because as we are growing up, uh, our thoughts and our emotions, our situations, our experiences, all of these interfere with our breathing, and we have irregular or uh, so to say broken or not proper breathing. As we grow up, we tend to move toward uh, wrong breathing styles, which are directly related to your emotions, your thoughts. I've already spoken about this in the video where I was talking about how meditation works with thought and emotions. Now, the bodily function, we all know that how air is related to circulation of water, circulation of blood, and basically heartbeat, of course, breathing. Um, it is also responsible for circulation of hormones and neurotransmitters, and even smaller processes like blinking of eyes or sneezing. All of these air is related to, but the most important function that it is related to is it is related to thoughts. And basically, I'll explain it this way, that thoughts are basically there in the space. When we'll take the space element, we'll talk about that aspect. But from the space, air is the medium which picks up the thoughts, and it is the medium which through air it is manifested in our physical body. So that's one of the important function of air, that it regulates the thoughts. So whenever you want to work on the air element, you'll work on the thoughts. Whenever you want to work on thoughts, you'll work on the air element. um, Now, what happens when this element is in disbalance? So basically, how does it get disbalance is uh, either food or the energies. These are the two things which can disbalance this element. Food, we already know that if we have wrong foods, it'll lead to issues related to air, right? All gastrointestinal issues will be related to this. uh, Energies, now, because it is thoughts, it is related to our even so let me explain this. We all know that some of us are we easily get influenced by other people's emotions or thoughts. We are uh, easily triggered, or easily we react. So now that is because we do not work on our air element. So again, because this is the problem, when we work on the air element, all of these issues can be solved. Even our food related things could be solved. So it's like a cycle, right? Either you work on the food and the air element will be better, or you work on the element and the food habit automatically will become better. uh, Talking about energies, people who have prominent air uh, disorder, or maybe, I would not say disorder, let us understand it this way, that if you're more sensitive to air element, then you will easily absorb other people's energy. Whereas, and again, remember I spoke about water element being the emotional aspect. This is related to thoughts. So when you have a lot of water and air combination, you'll have more of these issues. Whereas if you have fire and air, it'll take you into another direction. you'll tend to be more anger. Thoughts will be related to all of that. More passion related person, more somebody who's already ready to work. So that is how you can find the combinations. But these are the two things which leads to this balance of air element. Now, food, we know that not eating raw food if you have more of air element, or you're struggling with air. So one of the most important issue that we find with people who are prone to disbalance of air element, insomnia, right? Now we know that because of the thoughts, it takes us to the chain of thoughts and we're not able to sleep. That's because of the disbalance of air element. So how do we balance this element in us? Now, see, when you want to understand air element, we know that how important it is. So we also would understand that because it is so important and so prominent, even though the percentage of air is 6%, right? But it is a very, very, very powerful tool. So when you want to work on your entire system, working on air element can actually help you balance all the other elements. That is why breathworks are so important. That is why meditation is so important, because it is directly related to your thoughts. It is related to hence emotions. So balancing of air is very important. Now if you talk in from the point of view of traditional or Vedic tradition, there is an entire science called Swar Yoga or Swar Gyan, which talks about breathworks. So I'll give you a basic introduction to the nadi system, because we will talk about nadi system in detail when we talk about the chakras. But basically, clearing or working on air element, we do it through breathing, and breath work basically is related to the nadi systems. Now let me introduce nadi. Nadis are basically it's the system networks, or the it's like nerves only, kind of, but it is astral. So there are lakhs and thousands and lakhs of nadis, but the prominent nadis that we have are 72. Now what do these nadis do? Basically, these are the through this the pran shakti actually goes around in the entire body. So when you work with yoga and when you work with nadi system. Now out of those 72, 10 are very important and prominent, and even in those, at least 3 we all should know, and most of the time we know it also, but we're not conscious about it. These 3 nadis are the whole and soul, they are responsible for the breathing or the breath work. Now the central nadi, remember I spoke about astral spine. Now just where the spine is, you have your sushmana nadi. That's the central channel which is there, and all the chakras are all on this nadi. And where are these? The other 2 nadis, which the ingla and pingla, these are like going like this and rotating and coiling like a snake, right? And wherever these meet the sushmana, it's the chakras that are situated, right? So basically, when you want to work on all of this, you need to work on the air element, you need to work on your breath work. Why we are doing it? Because cleaning of this system can actually clear all the dosh, all the issues, and we'll talk in detail when I'll do the chakra system. But air is the element which we work on when we work on all of this. Also, this is these nadis are the responsible for the half of the masculine and half of the feminine aspect of us. We all have males and female hormones. We all know that. We all know that balancing of these two are required to be a perfect human being. And all of this we'll talk when I'll start the chakras. But it starts with air element. It starts with good breathing. Now, when I say good breathing, what is good breathing? So, you know, we need to understand how yogis breathe. So, you would have heard this saying, somebody saying that itni सांसें ही होते हैं, we all have limited breaths, and till we have those, we'll be here on this plane. Now, what yogis generally do, yogis do not waste their energies. They will conserve it, and we learn this also from our ancestors, which are the animals. They also do not use your energy until unless it is required. So yogis try to conserve their energy as much as possible. And one of the thing where we lose a lot of energy is in our breathing. We were talking about that how when we are stressed, our breathing become, it rises. Whereas when we are calm, the breathing becomes slower. The yogis know that, the amount of breath that you take should be more than amount of breath you are taking out or exhaling out, right? So all of this is working with air element, and if we perfect our breathing, we can perfect everything in our life. We can solve each and every issue related to our life, because everything is related to our breath. We will talk more and more about this element, but after we finish the basics. And so let's come down to how do we connect. So one is because we know, right, it's about thoughts. So we are not grounded if we are a lot in our thoughts. So one way, if you have a lot of air or you have a lot of issues with thoughts, one way to which we can balance this element is by grounding ourselves. So doing things, or including more of earth element in our lives. When we take the earth element, you can understand that what all we can do to increase the earth element. So once you increase, you are grounded, you can decrease your air element. Now, one thing we all know that balance of anything is good, imbalance of any element, anything is bad, and so is for all of these elements. Whenever we have any of the element which increases or decreases, we'll have issues, right? So we will never overdo any of that. The second way is to connect with the earth element or work with air element is we work with meditation, but we specifically work on our breath work. Now I have given many breath works. Samaviti was one of those, where you have equal breath and you have you stop for a minute. There are multiple breath work, and we'll keep doing breath works here. So that you can include. To start with, you can simply observe your breath when you're sitting or you're meditating. You don't have to do anything, you just have to. And if at all we are able to be always conscious about our breath, no matter what situation is going outside, what is happening outside, if we are able to do that much, you will understand that you've kind of conquered everything. It's just because even if we are conscious about our water element or all the other elements, but it's during the situations when we are so outward that we're not in touch with the inner self. Now what we are doing through all of these, understanding these elements, is that we are so in touch with the inner self that even when we are with the outside world, we are very much connected, and we are continuously, as an observer, we can understand that what is happening in my body. So I'll give you an example. A person who's say is in a cold environment. Now, it's not the cold environment that is making us feel cold. It is the thought and the all the our memories related to cold, and all our whatever we have heard, we have done, or some experience that we have had or somebody else has had, that is all there in your subconscious. And that, when you are in a situation like a cold weather, that all get triggered, and you kind of you manifest that thing in front of you. Whereas the situation, if you are calm, and that is how yogis would control their breaths, because they are so in tune with their own breathing system that no matter what is happening outside, they are always centered with their breath, and that is all it is. And this is not something very difficult to achieve. It's just that we need to practice this. So this is about this. Otherwise, what all we can do with air is that we know that there's a saying that hawa pani change ho jayegi if you go somewhere. So travel. If we all know how refreshing traveling is, we all know that when we change a place, the energy changes. So there's a shift in the energy. So if I am somewhere stagnant energy, right, and I go out and I just be there even for 2 minutes, 1 minute, there'll be a shift in my energies. Now similarly, what we can do is that whenever you go out or travel, sit and stand there where there is breeze, and just sit with the air. Just take the breeze and try to understand how your body is reacting with that air. Once you start doing this practice, you'll understand that different air or different places, how the air is impacting your body. It's all about being conscious. It's all about being present in this body and experiencing all of these elements and taking best of them, not just working through autopilot mode, right? So this is one of the things. The other thing was sleeping pattern. Yeah. So it's a cycle. So if air is disbalanced, you'll have insomnia issues. So to work on insomnia, we have to try to work on a sleeping pattern. If we'll work on sleeping pattern, the thoughts, extra thoughts, all of that can be worked on, right? Now the chakra related to air. It's the heart chakra. The heart chakra is related to air. Now again, when we'll understand chakra, we'll understand this in detail, because this is a very, very intricate connection. So air is related to heart chakra. Now, yes, one more thing I forgot. When you want to connect with air, so plants and animals are our ancestors. And I'll talk about this when I'll talk about karma as evolutionary tool. So we are very, very strongly connected to animals and plants also. So plants are the reason, and they give us oxygen. So there's a very strong connection through the medium or the element of air. So whenever we are deficient on this element or there's a disbalance, we can connect with plants. More you will connect with plants, you will see, or trees, whatever you like to garden, or you want to just sit there or do whatever, just connect the way you would like to connect with that particular entity. Connect with plants, and you'll see the difference. And of course, I always say gratitude for that element is number one thing. Like the way we spoke about that, saying thank you to water, we can always say thank you to the air, because it is ultimately, these are the basic things, or the elementary elements, right? So the mudras related to it. Now this is the air finger, right, and this is the fire. So basically we know Gyan Mudra already. Gyan Mudra is one of the mudras which is, and where we all of these can be relaxed, because if we keep them stiff, we can't put it for like a lot of time. So it's basically about your air finger and your fire finger. So this is the mudra, Gyan Mudra, which you can practice. Just the little pressure on your tip of your air finger. The other mudra, which is can decrease, but this will decrease, right? So you bend this and put it like this. So this, and these can be relaxed. And when you meditate with this mudra, right? Or you can just sit for, and whenever you work with mudra, you should always see what is happening to your body. So try it for 1 minute, try it for 2 minutes, try it for 5 minutes. Try various mudras and see what is happening to your body, because your body will always give you feedback, and that feedback is something we want to connect with. And this is Vayu Mudra. The other one was Gyan, but this is Vayu Mudra, and this will decrease the Vayu element in you, right? Pranayam we all know, Alom and Vilom, right? So this is about air. Now coming down to astrology, the three signs which are related to air element is the Gemini, the Libra, and the Aquarius. Now, as I was giving 3 water bodies to the 3 signs, here we'll talk about air element. So if you want to see Gemini will be a tornado. So tornado, and if I can give a bird related to Gemini, it would be a hummingbird, because they are very, you call them chanchal. So, that's the entity, that's the idea behind Gemini. They are very full of, life, and they like butterflies. So, tornado, lot of, and all of these signs are lot of mental work. Even the planet I would associate will be the Mercury planet. So lot of mental work, lot of thoughts, and lot of ideas. If you have these 3 signs, you'll have all of this. So Gemini is tornado. Libra will be a nice good breeze, beautiful nice breeze, because they are like the balancers. They are the kind of, they'll see that everything is injustice, and still a lot of mental work. Aquarius, they are like I don't know what I would tell them, but that's something in between tornado and thunderstorm, something like that, right? But very innovative, lovely people. All of them are nice. I mean, all the signs are nice, and if we have these signs, why I'm telling you these signs is because we are still working on karma, right? And after I'll finish these 5 elements, then I'll tell you that how these elements are there in our life individually, and how these form the tendencies that we have, and how we are programmed and we function based on composition of these elements in our life. So there's a lot to talk about. This was all about the air element, and I hope I've covered everything. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this.